Well, what do you know? After 11 years, Layla finally graced us with her long overdue return last week, along with her new very wealthy family and 2 children. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going to go over a story titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my daughter back to her biological mother? And guys, this story is all about a guy. He is in his 40s, I believe, and he eventually adopted his niece, his sister's child, because the child's mother abandoned her. 3 years old, just took a job in another country, promised that she'll send for the girl, would provide money and call every day, that type of thing, and then pretty much in no time abandoned her. No money, nothing. And this guy adopted her, raised her as his own, even though it's technically his niece. And then 11 years later, guess who's back? The girl's mother and this guy's sister, demanding, not asking, demanding to have this girl back. And as you can imagine, the fireworks this whole thing caused with him, the girl, the family, all that. And it just never ceases to amaze me, these stories and how people behave. And by the way, you're going to see, to no surprise, this woman has no accountability for her actions. And she accuses this guy who raised her daughter as the bad guy and selfish and all these things. It's crazy. But again, you can't make this shit up. So, and this is a little bit longer, so I'll get right into it. He says here, to avoid confusion, my daughter Millie, who's 14 years old, is biologically my niece. So what happened was, years ago when Millie was about 3 years old, my sister / her mother, Layla, left to work in another country, leaving Millie in my care. Millie's father died before she was born. Layla had promised to send money for me to take care of Millie, and that she'd call and visit as often as she could until she could take Millie to live with her permanently. After she left, she probably called 3 times in the first 2 months and then went completely AWOL. What a scumbag. For years, I tried to find out what happened and assume the worst, only to hear from one of her friends a couple years later that she got married to someone else and has an entirely new family. What a piece of garbage. Totally abandoned her 3-year-old daughter. Do you know that child is old enough to remember the mother, I believe? You know what kind of damage it does to a kid? What a selfish piece of shit. And not to mention, this guy's not only raising the child, but paying to raise the child. No money sent from her. I was heartbroken because Millie would ask her when her mom was coming back, and I never knew what to say except soon. But even she grew tired of it and realized when she was about 8 years old that her mom wasn't coming back anytime soon, and that if she was coming back at all. Because of the situation, me and my wife were granted parental rights to Millie, and she couldn't have been happier that we were officially her parents. Well, that is an unbelievably kind and loving uncle and aunt for doing that, because they didn't have to. But they took this child in, raised her, and not to mention paid for her, only for what's about to happen. Well, what do you know? After 11 years, Layla finally graced us with her long overdue return last week, along with her new very wealthy family and 2 children. You mean very wealthy husband who she married and obviously plotted to get married with, and had 2 kids with him to secure the family wealth. Had to mention that. Most of the family was happy with her return, except me, my mom, dad, and my wife. We're nothing short of furious. She tried to explain, but all that we heard was, I abandoned my own daughter and made a new family. Yeah, here's a bill for 11 years worth of raising your child, asshole. As if that was not enough, she practically demanded her daughter back. Too late, honey. You abandoned her. We have now parental rights. Problem is, she's got money and will try to fight them with it legally. Mom and Dad weren't having it at all and told her Millie belongs with me and my wife and that she no longer has any right to her. You're damn right. Well, there she goes screaming at me about stealing her daughter because I was infertile, and to hear that come from out of her mouth hurt me in a way that I've never been hurt before, to the point where I cried and left. Me being infertile has always been a weak point, and for her to casually bring it up like that despite being my sister broke me. So you can see on multiple fronts how much of an a-hole she is. This guy's been raising her daughter for 11 years, and she's bringing up the fact that he's infertile was not his fault, and she's rubbing it in his face, screaming at him. Women and accountability. For the next few days, I prevented her from contacting Millie, and I haven't told her that Layla's back because I'm scared I'd lose my daughter. I'm a human being too. I get attached, especially to someone I had to raise. That too out of my own pocket, not that I'm complaining. I believe Millie is my daughter, and I can't let her go back to the very same woman who abandoned her. You're damn right, and anybody with half a brain would agree with that. He says, does this make me an a-hole? Smack. Brother, you're a damn good man for raising that girl and taking care of her and all that, when honestly, you didn't have to. No, you're not the a-hole. You're a good man. Your sister is the a-hole. So don't ask those questions. He says, as a quick edit, I'd like to thank everyone and all of you. All your criticism is valid, and I appreciate you guys for making me realize that I might lose my daughter by keeping the return of her mom away from her. I'd also like to apologize for the way I phrase some of the things. By no means do I think my daughter is some possession. She is her own person and doesn't belong to anyone. Dude, do not entertain these jackasses in the comment sections of Reddit who are making you out to say that she's like your possession. That's not what you meant. Anybody with a brain knows darn well that's not what you meant. The yahoos that comment on Reddit just never cease to amaze me. As such, I've changed the phrase belong to belong with to accurately represent what was meant. Don't cater to these a-holes. I love you guys for all the support you've given me, and I definitely will consult an attorney. Me and my wife have agreed to tell Millie about her mother tonight, and we'll make sure it's all about how she feels and not about us. Now, on to the update to see how things go with the daughter and how things are going to unravel with this story. It says here, I'd like to apologize for not responding to all the comments and messages I received lately. Stop apologizing, brother. Things have been tough ever since we told Millie about Layla's return. After all, the support and advice, you deserve an update on the situation. I don't even know where to really begin. Everything has been a mess. Way too much has happened the day after we told Millie. Since there's no word limit here, I'm going to get as much as detail as I can. That night, we told Millie that Layla had returned, and for a good few minutes, she was looking at us as if waiting for us to say we were joking. But after she realized we were not, she broke down into tears and it hurt. Of course, she wanted to know more and thought we were hesitant. We ended up telling her about Layla and her new family. I never seen her that furious. She was all over the place, throwing stuff around, and we let her because she needed to let it out. For the night, she refused to talk to me since I should have told her the moment she came back, and my wife stayed with her for the night. Her anger subsided by the morning, and we patched things up. She's a very emotional, hormonal 14-year-old teenage girl, so of course there's going to be a lot of emotions all over the place. But she shouldn't be showing you disrespect because of what you did for her. She gets a night to blow up, but she better be calm the next morning. At first, she wasn't sure she wanted anything to do with Layla, but we let her make that choice and she wanted to see her. And oh, so God help me with that woman. We set up the meeting for her and Layla, but she brought her entire family to the house along with her expensive gifts, and everything went downhill from there. Of course, she had to come with a whole bunch of expensive gifts. Making the big splash with her wealth, making sure everybody knew it, and to buy the girl's affection. That's what people like this do. Need to mention a very important part that should have made Layla realize she truly abandoned Millie. Along with the family was her sister-in-law, Tanya, about the same age as her. When both of them entered, Millie could not even recognize who amongst them was Layla, and they looked worlds apart from each other. I had hoped that was enough to convince her to see what she did, but she carried on and pointed that she was Layla, all while attempting to get close to her, even when she was clearly distancing herself. It got so bad that my wife had to come between them, and her husband had to pull her away. There's no drama in this world that can compare to family drama, which is why I encourage you guys to avoid family members that bring drama into your life, and if it gets so bad, to cut them off. But a lot of people can't do that. That's when she started yelling at my wife for coming in between her and Millie, also accusing her of replacing her. Bitch, you abandoned your daughter for 11 years. We raised your child and paid for your child. Don't give me this crap about trying to come between you and your daughter. Either get off your meds or get on some meds. What was there to replace? She was never there to begin with. And wow, what a first impression she had made to the kid that she abandoned. Millie became infuriated once more, and things were said. When I say she said what she needed to be said, I mean it. It was a serious situation, but me and my wife were struggling to hide our smiles when Millie told Layla off. Good for Millie. And I can only imagine a pissed off 14-year-old girl with all the emotions unloading on the mother that abandoned her. Good. She deserves that. The girl deserves to say what she has to say, and the mother deserves to hear every bit of it. She called her cruel, selfish, disgusting, evil, and many more vile words to express her hatred towards her. Tanya had to take Layla's kids outside. Normally, I'd not entertain the vocabulary Millie was using, but for this specific instance, I just had to allow it. She was too worked up after this, and I had to take care upstairs to calm down. Yeah, she probably used the F word a few times. She may even use the C word a few times. Now it was just me and my wife versus Layla and her husband. Kick his ass. And along came the usual chorus. She accused us once again, now saying we influenced Millie to hate her. She was in tears for a minute. Of course she was crying. And I felt sorry for her. Smack. Do not fall for the waterwork trick. My wife politely asked we discuss this like adults. Yeah, but you guys are adults. She is like a selfish child. Now the revelations begin, and honestly, I rest my case. As we were recalling events of the past, and while Layla never contacted us again, Jeremy, her husband, was visibly confused. He looked lost, completely lost to the point where I thought he wasn't feeling well, and I offered we take a walk. And well, we started talking about the matter, and I was beyond shocked. According to him, when he met Layla, she never said anything about a child, and only after the marriage did she reveal she had a child. She pulled a bait and switch on this rich guy. Shocker. So once again, Layla is proving how much of an a-hole she is. Not by choice, anyway, because he found out from one of my billion texts of her regarding Millie. She further lied and said that my family forced her to give up her child to me because I was infertile and desperate for a child that shared blood with me. But it doesn't end there. Jesus, what else? When Jeremy wanted to read the rest of the text, she deleted them because I was apparently insulting and making threats to her that were so disturbing she didn't want Jeremy to see them. Of course, I showed him the text from my phone and he couldn't believe it. It even gets worse. It was said that I was preventing her from contacting Millie, and she didn't even want to involve the police in the matter because me and my family were dangerous, so she thought it was best not to contact us anymore to protect her new family. So she's a selfish a-hole, she's mental, she's a freaking bait and switcher, a pathological liar, and the list just goes on and on. And this guy probably thought, I could marry this great woman. There's a reason why this girl is not seeing her mom. Here we go with the sirens. At some point, I was thinking to myself how incredibly stupid Jeremy was to believe Layla's blatant attempts to cover the fact that she abandoned a child. But I feel for the guy. He was probably so smitten with my sister, just like all her exes, that he failed to see through her BS. There you go. Good-looking woman, good body. I'm assuming this. If she had lots of exes, and there you go. She knows how to mind F them, tell them what they want to hear, leave things out, and have them so mesmerized by the P, they're not paying attention to the BS. I didn't even get to ask why they chose to come back now because Jeremy was angry and he went back inside fuming. They were fighting so loudly I had to send them outside. It was clearly going to get violent and we had to physically separate the two. Jeremy took Tanya and the kids left, leaving Layla there. My very empathetic wife let her stay in our house since she was wailing so much, and honestly, after the lies, I couldn't care less about her. What the hell are you letting her stay in the house for? She's wealthy. She's got a credit card. She can go to the freaking Comfort Inn or the local Hilton or Hyatt to stay at. She doesn't have to stay at your house. I did ask Millie if she was okay with Layla spending the night. After seeing Layla break down like that, I wasn't surprised she let her stay. She made it very clear the only reason she was allowing it is because she's not like her, and that was enough to let me know we're doing a good job of raising her. The hell with that. I'd be like, get that piece of shit out of my house, Mom and Dad. And it doesn't mean I'm a bad person for saying that. Is this what she deserves? You know, it always drives me crazy when people say, I'm not going to stoop to that person's level or something like, you guys get the point. I'm going to be the better person here. Bullshit. They don't deserve that. She also said she was still waiting for her to explain why she abandoned her and why she chose to come back now. Like, you can actually believe a word she's going to say. She has a track record for lying and manipulating and pulling BS with everybody. Why would you want to just wait around for her to give her an opportunity to do the same thing? But I get the girl's 14 and obviously doesn't have a whole lot of life experience and she's emotional, so she can get a pass there. But this guy ought to know better than that. We did get to discuss how she felt about Layla overall, and needless to say, she was very disappointed with her approach. I took the chance to assure her that she shouldn't be pressured to side with me and my wife, and she can get to know Layla if she wants to. That is a terrible idea. Layla is a terrible person. We would always love her no matter what. She assured me she wouldn't be going anywhere near her and was very emotional for me because my heart was at ease hearing her say that. Or she said I wouldn't be going away. Layla and Jeremy are still not talking, so Layla lives with us for now. Since my parents don't want her at our house either, and my wife thinks she's too unstable for us to be left alone. But the more she delays telling us the truth, the faster her time is running out in the house. You are out of your mind for letting her stay in that house. You are freaking crazy. Again, she's got money. She can stay at a freaking hotel. I just don't recognize my sister anymore. She was never like this. My parents raised her so well. I get she was traumatized by Millie's father's death, but surely it's not enough to change someone so drastically. No, you didn't see the real her. She was hiding who she really was. Don't give her a pass because of the girl's father died, that she gets a pass for her behavior. She's a grown-ass adult and can be accountable for her actions. And to abandon your child despite knowing that you're the only parent they have left, then coming back after a long time and take her away from people who love her, it just makes it hard for me to sympathize with her. Yeah, don't sympathize with her. There are just evil people in this world. And no matter how much you try to be the better person, you're not going to fix them, and you're going to bring turmoil into your own life. I doubt any one of us will take this to the courts now that Layla's husband knows the truth. And that's the end of that update. Now we're going to get a few comments, since he had a few comments he responded to, and then the final update of this whole thing. In the comments, somebody said, give her a time limit. A week should be enough for her to go and get her act together, enough to move forward. Any longer than that, and you'll be actively harming your daughter by having her around. Good luck on your next move. Yeah, every waking second that woman is in your house is making things worse for the daughter. And he says, oh, don't worry about that. She has until tomorrow to answer Millie's questions. She can come up with the most saint of explanations, but the lies that she told her husband and his family will be her downfall. I know for sure I know for sure nothing she says will ever convince Millie, and I did tell Layla that I'll drag it out myself if she doesn't leave tomorrow, regardless of the explanation, and I would have the abandonment charges pressed against her. I just hope it doesn't come to that, and she just apologizes and peacefully exits our lives because even now, I still haven't heard a single sorry from her. Not one apology. Not one. And I can't say I'm believable because this is believable. There are people who are just that big of a-holes in this world. I can see she's taking advantage of my wife's empathetic nature, but I'm going to end it. You're darn right she's taking advantage. That's what people like her do. And again, people with the idea that I'm going to be the better person and show mercy and that bullshit. No. Now with the final update. He says here, I've been noticing a lot of traction for my updates, and I can see you all want an update. First, I would like to address the skepticism about my posts. Of course there are. I understand where you're all coming from, and honestly, I expected a lot more people to say I made it up because even to me, it seems unreal. I can't control whether you believe it or not, but regardless, I thank those who have given their support. I've done enough of these that I do believe this because I know there are people out there that are such a-holes. But there's other people in this world that wouldn't believe someone would do that to their own child or their own family until it happens to them. As for the text messages, I've always kept them over the years, ever since Layla went AWOL. They weren't just on one platform, but on a lot more others. I was also advised by our lawyer to keep them, and that's how we also got Millie's custody. I know from the reader's perspective, it seems everything happened fast, but I assure you it did not. But I have to apologize. I cannot give you a detailed update about Layla's answer, at least not in a post. Yes, it is that bad. Layla's secret is only between me and my wife and her. Bro, you can't leave us hanging here. It can't be that bad. And if it even is that bad, I'm sure people have heard it. She told Millie it was because of her mental instability, but that was only on surface level. Gee, mental instability, you think? Millie did tell her it was great that she eventually came back for her, but things are better with her gone, at least for now. The real reason would crush my daughter. We can't tell her until we're sure she can handle it, but I don't see us ever telling her something as horrible as this. What, bro? Now I know my sister is dealing with her unresolved trauma that has made her the horrible person she is today. She has left, thank God, and I made her swear to never come back. But I know better than that to take Layla's word for things, so I had to make sure of it in my own way. I didn't do anything illegal, if that's what you're thinking. Jeremy did come back before finally leaving to apologize to Millie about Layla's actions and told her she's always welcome at his home and she can get to know her half-siblings if she wants to. Well, Jeremy sounds like a good guy. He just was completely bamboozled by Layla. I don't know what will happen between Layla and Jeremy, but for her sake, she had better lie herself out of this one too, because if she tells Jeremy what she said to me, she might not see her own kids again. But then again, it would be good if the kids are raised by Jeremy and not Layla until they have seen a psychiatrist. Bro, we all listen to your story here, and it is definitely an interesting one. 11 years, shows up once, demands the child back. But this thing about what she's claiming is the reason why she's nuts. Number one, I wouldn't believe anything she has to say. I'm sure she's trying to pull at your heartstrings. I don't know how to feel about Layla now, because on the one hand, I can see how she's dealing with heavy unresolved trauma that needs professional intervention. But on the other hand, no mother feels the way she feels about my daughter. Do not feel bad for your a-hole sister. She's just a piece of shit. Deal with it. I am by all means going to delete this update after some time. If you do want to know what Layla said and can guarantee me you will never ever share anywhere else, message me. I can't have it in a public post. I've already told a few I trust about the whole thing, and I truly hope they have kept it to themselves. Now, the guy that did this part isn't the original post. This was a copy of the final update because he did delete the final update. He wrote the following, which I'm going to read, and then the guy responded. He says here, new edit from your reposter. I heard back from the original poster. Since he was not wanting to share the real reason Layla abandoned her daughter, I had messaged him to make sure it would be okay to add this final update to the post, since it might result in a barrage of requests to hear what happened. He told me it was okay because he was about to delete everything anyway. He did share Layla's story with me. I will tell you that Millie was not the product of an S-word assault, as so many of the comments assume. I asked how Millie was doing after all this, and he said she was handling it really well. I'm pasting his reply about Millie below. And his reply about the daughter was, my daughter is much better than I thought she would be. Her life and daily habits haven't been affected, and we're moving on as a family. So that is the final part of the story here. So we're not going to know what Layla's excuse was for her behavior, but I simply, whatever she'd say, everybody claims how horrible it is, I just think it's just going to be just trying to pull at the heartstrings of good, honest, good people. That's what these narcissists, these sociopaths, these pieces of shit do to good people. And I hope that her husband, Jeremy, divorces her ass. He's got money, so hopefully he can divorce her ass and move on fine. And that's that, because this woman shouldn't be around anybody. But the sad thing is, there are people like this in this world. There are total narcissists, total sociopaths, and use their manipulative tactics. They use their good looks to rope people in, take advantage of them, and smush them down to nothing, and rinse, repeat, recycle. Rinse, recycle, repeat. Whatever the fuck that is. That line is. You know what I'm talking about. It's a shame. But I hope this girl grows up, continues growing up in that loving family, grows up well-adjusted, and is all right, moves past this. Because every time that woman comes back into her life, it's going to mess her up. But I love that part when the girl was telling her off. So guys, there you go. Women and accountability. 11 years. Totally banned the girl for 11 years. Now she's back demanding her back in her life and blaming them. And not once an apology. Good God. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, in case you didn't hear the announcement the other day, I have a brand new channel called SSM Clips. If you haven't subscribed, definitely should. The channel will be all clips from both this channel and Strong Successful Male. Clips of pieces of wisdom and teaching that I do on occasion. Minute here, 2 minutes there. As well as clips from really good stories I go over. As well as exclusive short stories that are 4 or 5, 6 minutes long. Good ones, but too short for these longer story channels. I think you definitely would like. So by all means, go over there, click the subscribe button. It'll definitely help me out. And I'll post a link in the both the description and the top of the comment section. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.